So this is a spoiler-free review of Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Yep. Mewtwo strikes you back.
Right, that's it. You're saying it. I'm,
Whoopsh.
I'm not saying the name. Hi, I'm Missy,
And I'm Kane.
and this is one of our spoiler-free reviews. There's nothing worse than when you're trying to watch a movie and the trailer has given everything away, or a friend has given everything away, trying to tell you if you should see it or not. We just want to say that we're not ruining the movie. We're giving more than just a number review, but we're keeping all the juicy details for when you go and see it yourself. So, this is a review of the Mewtwo thing.
It's Pokemon
Hang
Mewtwo
on.
Strikes
I
Back
literally have a hair
Evolution.
stuck to my face. All right, right. So, Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution. Okay.
Yes, the remake of Pokemon, the first movie, Mewtwo Strikes Back.
So, this is a spoiler free review of Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Yep. Mewtwo strikes you back.
Right, that's it. You're saying it.
Whoopsh.
I'm not saying the name.
I already said it. We're good. We're absolutely
No,
good.
we're not.
We're still going.
We're not good.
Good.
We need to record the name.
I have the name. I already said it.
Yeah, but I was looking at you stupid.
It's okay.
No,
You're
it's
beautiful.
not.
You're beautiful. It's all that matters.
Ugh.
Look at the camera. Stay pretty. All right. Let's start off with, I was going to say the production side of things, but since this is an anime, that's a bit hard for us. Don't know who the director is, don't know anything, just know that Netflix did it.
Yeah.
And we are loyal Netflix fans. Do you have anything else? Anything?
On the
What-
production?
On the production side, cast?
I mean, I recognized a couple of the names. I think maybe one or two people got to keep their role or be involved from the original movie, which is cool. And I also read something about the cast having a lot to do with the TV show, so the voices would be familiar. But after trying to read many articles about it, it all blurred together, and I might be talking out of my ass.
Yeah, and should mention, was a fan of the first movie and I only recognized two voices.
Yeah.
So whether they're the same as the show, I have no idea. I stopped watching that up till an episode like 300 and something. There's like a
think
billion now.
we don't want to sit here and just do a comparison with, the original movie and this one, because it is sort of,
It's unfair.
yeah, obviously there's 20, 30 years between it, whatever amount of time. So,
20.
yeah. Basically, we are going to compare some things because if you are a fan of the original, it would be unfair to do a review on the new one and not make a couple of comparisons. But for the most part, we'd like to review it as its own thing.
First off, let's talk about our taste so you get an idea of what kind of level of biased we are.
Okay, so personally, I'm a lover of animated things, but not too crazy into anime. I've watched a few, so I'm very art style picky, I guess, whereas I feel like you've definitely seen a lot more variations and you're more appreciative.
I'm very picky as well, but I probably would enjoy more, I'd say.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm an anime lover. Like I just said, already watched a bunch of Pokemon. And the art style in this. All right, let's talk about the art direction in this movie. The environment is beautiful.
It is. It's that weird mix of like realistic.
Hyper realistic.
Yep. Hyper realistic without, actually looking real.
I'm cool with the environment being absolutely gorgeous. Like, absolutely gorgeous. The environment and the effects are beautiful. And you're probably not on the same with me, but I was actually quite okay with the way the Pokemon and the people looked.
Yeah.
But it's definitely takes a bit of getting used to.
I don't think I got used to it. Whereas, like, if we're to compare it to something like the Pikachu Detective movie, I adjusted to that straight away. There were only a couple of Pokemon that seemed wrong to me, whereas I just feel with the way that the background was done, the people and the Pokemon seemed cheap and out of place for me. I don't know why you'd make a hyper realistic world and then make the people super cartoony, but obviously they're going to keep the art style.
Yeah.
So they are more textured. Like, there were definitely details in clothing and stuff and all the minor things, but it just felt a little bit Ash to me.
The fact you said it looked a bit weird because you got like the hyper realistic world compared to the Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
That's basically the same as Detective Pikachu.
No,
You got
but
the realistic world with the not realistic Pokemon.
yeah, but they seemed realistic. You know, like the
To a certain
textures were
degree.
better. Whereas when I look at like the fuzzy Pikachu and stuff in the new movie, it's just it's not doing it for me.
I think this is where 3D anime is going, and it's
Mm.
just getting better because I haven't been a fan of 3D anime, but I kind of liked it. It takes some getting used to. You be the judge of that when you see it.
I mean, without giving anything away, Pikachu has dead soulless eyes. So enjoy that.
If we're going to get to that, I would say it has a similar feel like The Lion King. It kind of feels a bit soulless.
Alright, I'll allow it. I wouldn't quite go that far, but
Like an upgrade in graphics, but a loss in soul.
yeah, actually, no, that's pretty fair. Like, it's hard to try and compare something that's a different art form, I
Yeah,
guess. Especially when you are looking at it compared to the original movie that won over so many people and is very dear to a lot of us 90s kids. But I don't know. I guess there's something about it where it lost a bit of the magic. And it did feel like an animation thing to me. But then again, I'm sure there are people out there who love the show or love like 3D anime kind of stuff and are going to think it's perfect. So it might just be a personal preference thing.
All I can say is let us know what you think of it after you see it. As for sound was sometimes it's another one like the looks. Sometimes it sounded right, and then sometimes what was it that sounded like I can't say what it was, but I'm just telling you there was a scene that sounded like a kettle and it shouldn't have.
Hi, Pikachu! Pika!
There's a lot of things that are laughable if you actually go back and watch the original Pokemon movie. There are a lot of things wrong with it, but they don't seem quite as bad when you look at a movie from this year and the sound was wrong in a lot of places. It was clear. It was just wrong. And unfortunately for me, I do think that we had a bias to the old movie. We weren't able to just watch this for what it is. But the music definitely doesn't have the same feel. Like, if you watch the original, you're a fan of the original, you know that there are certain songs that just grab the heartstrings and make it a magical experience. This movie didn't have that for me. I don't think any of the songs really grabbed me.
Yeah, the overall music and score just did not do it.
And I think they just wanted to take it in a fresh kind of modern direction from the original, but unfortunately it didn't click for me. I am curious though, as we are, let's just say we're around 30 years old roughly. I'd like to know if the younger generation connect more with the music. It might be an age thing. We might be grumpy old farts.
It could, most likely. But no, you're wrong. The movie fucked up.
Yeah, no, I blame Netflix.
Okay, what would you say about the voice acting?
Okay. So
should we really take long on this? Because I think it's pretty.
Look, I don't like. Here's the thing. I really don't want to spoil it. Okay, look. Let's just say some of the characters sound a little bit older than others, and like they shouldn't be playing with 10-year-olds. That's what we're leaving it as.
Playing 10-year-olds or playing with 10-year-olds?
I said playing with.
Okay. Dear Joyce.
I don't know how old Brock's meant to be. I thought he was 14.
You know what? I like my final note here. Everything seems slow, just like the characters.
Yeah, look, I'm not gonna lie. There were some issues. I do think this is where it comes into. I think it's the same cast as the show, so I don't want to be too aggressive here, but I didn't love it.
Which would make sense. Like, it completely makes sense.
Yeah.
If you're watching the show now,
yeah,
and you come into this, you're gonna be like, oh fuck yeah, they got the voices I know.
yeah. So it's obviously familiar for a lot of people, but it just felt a little bit icky to me. I can't quite pinpoint why. I'm not saying it's the worst thing I've ever heard, but it just lacks something for me. Some of them just weren't quite there. But, you know, again, if you watch the show and you're familiar with the voices, you're probably going to come into it and be like, you're a hater. Yes, I am.
And as by itself, the story, what do you think? Because I say personally, I like the story.
So
like,
do I.
Like, it's simple but effective.
I think it shows a portion of the world and some different characters and aspects that play into it without being too crazy. I genuinely think it's a cutesy little story. It's not too scary. It's not too dumbed down. There's just enough of everything to be for adults and kids. But, you know, I mean, I've always liked this particular story from the Pokemon universe. You know, I've not really found too many issues with it. I do believe when we reviewed the first Pokemon movie, we found a couple of weird plot holes. But, you know, from what I remember, this does sort of carry into that. But at the same time, I almost feel like a lot of stuff was tidied up in this.
Yeah.
It didn't feel quite as missing. And there were a couple of scenes that you might be expecting from the original that are a little bit different and extended.
It was actually, some were extended. So
yeah.
There's a bit of a plus.
They kind of fill in a couple of gaps just by extending scenes a little bit or adding something. And it's done really well. Like, they were additions that didn't feel forced or like needless, and I was actually quite impressed with the way that they did it.
What would you say, overall, final thoughts? Is there anything?
I guess if you're a fan of the original Pikachu Pokemon movie, if you're a fan of the original Pokemon movie, you're going to want to see this one. I do think
if you're a fan of Pokemon,
you
should probably watch this.
If you're a fan of Pokemon in general, I mean, I haven't played the games very much since I've gotten older. I've dabbled in some of the ones on the Switch recently, but I'm mostly a Pokemon Go player and then kind of a nostalgia fan. So for me, this was a must-see. The minute it came out, I stopped what we were doing and I put it on. It's very much a must-see if you're a Pokemon fan, or if you want to see if you like the Pokemon universe and you haven't experienced it yet. But, you know, I don't know. I can't rave about it.
It is a kids movie, whereas the first one was a little bit darker. This one, even though it has almost the same everything, it's kind of missing that. I think that's probably where I feel a bit jaded. You know what I mean? Because like the tone, without giving away, I guess once you watch it, you understand if you remember what the first movie was like compared to this.
I just remembered the issues we had with Brock, with his dialogue. There are characters who will chime in with things that have nothing to do with anything and don't make sense. It almost felt like bad translations.
Yeah, there was some lost in translation.
So I'm not quite sure how that would happen. If you watch it, you'll understand when you hear them and you'll just be like, what did they say? That's weird. But for the most part, yeah, if you're comparing this to the original, you're going to be really pleased. And if you're coming into it completely new, I still think you're going to be pleased. It's just a good time. But it's one of those movies where it's enjoyable and I'll probably watch it again. But I honestly don't think I can rate it very highly, and I couldn't tell you why. I think it's a build-up of a lot of little things, like having issues with a couple of story holes, a couple of issues with sound, obviously, with the voice acting. It's all small things that I could overlook if there weren't that many of them. So it does drag the score down a little bit for me.
You're going to give it a score. What would you give it?
Okay, so am I doing it how we do the podcast?
Just straight out of 10.
Out of 10? Alright, if I was to rate this movie out of 10... I think I'm sitting at around maybe a 7. I was going to go 6.5, but they're getting a 7 for effort.
I am leaning towards 6.5.
Yeah.
I think it is not worth like going out and grabbing a Netflix subscription for.
Yeah.
But if you have Netflix and you're a Pokemon fan, it is for you.
Yeah, exactly.
To at least throw on and check it out purely for the fact it's Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's a cool new animal.
It's a cool new animal.
Cool new animals.
Gotta catch them all. Animals.
Cool new anime style, which probably will start being the future.
Yeah.
If you've seen other Netflix shows, they've been doing it. Saint Seiya, I think, is another one that's doing it. The Dragon Quest. Haven't watched it yet, but they're all getting this 3D anime style, which is kind of cool. So.
I do wonder if they're kind of trialing it with a couple of big popular things to see how people kind of react to it.
See if it's more the style,
yeah,
or if it's like the IP being used.
Because obviously, if I were to post anything about it online, I would not be a fan of the style. Whereas Kane is like, no, this is great.
I'm interested in it. I like it.
No, I think it reminds me of watching cartoons and that as a kid, and when they started to get more into CGI, I just felt like it was never quite right, and
I
I
know.
think that's what
And
it's
if
like.
you go back and look at those cartoons, you'll be like, oh, there's a reason.
No, I'll be like, oh, it looks like Pokemon.
No. Chuck on Transformers Beast Warriors. Oh my god.
Just from the sound of that, I don't want to.
You do. All right. That is our review. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully it wasn't all over the place. Hopefully we didn't spoil too much. Let us know what you think. After you've watched it, come back. Let us know what you think.
If you like what we're doing and you want to see more, we have a couple of other videos that you're welcome to check out. We always appreciate feedback in the form of likes or comments. We will always reply to you, and we're happy to interact, answer any questions, and take suggestions as well. If you think it was too in-depth or if we missed something, let us know. We're always happy to change. Not, in the video, but in the future.
Not in this video.
Yeah, we're
It's
not
done.
We're not fixing this video. This video is what it is.
We'll come back when they redo this movie again, except live action.
Yes. Alright. Pikachu, sign us out. And I'm very sorry. In a minute it'll just scream. I don't know how to stop it from doing that. I'm not actually pressing it.
It's
Just-
terrifying. All right. Ta-ta.
Bye.